This, of course, is America's Morning Headquarters. I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams alongside meteorologist Jordan Steele and Kelly Cass. And we want to get right to Jordan in this summer heat wave. It's already been problematic, snapping roads, giving people heat stress.
Crazy.
It has already been a problem.
Obviously, this is going to be a situation where if you got to do anything else.
Potentially dangerous situation for that concert tonight. Don't want to raise red flags unnecessarily, but Steph, it's going to be hot in Boston today. Feels like 110 potentially. This is a day you don't want to take lightly. You want to stay hydrated and keep cool. Steph, into
Sun's already up in Boston. That tilt of the earth this time of year is tilted towards the sun, while in the south people are still feeling like nighttime. The sun has yet to come up, but it is going to get hot up and down the I-95 corridor no matter what latitude you are at. Now, it's going to be a scorcher in our nation's capital as well. But yeah, can you imagine? So I'm sure people were staying away from those as well. So let's have a look at what we are going to be dealing with. By the way, yesterday in New York City, we got as hot as feeling like 113 degrees. And I want you to notice something with these temperatures. New York, our temperature right now, New York, Detroit, Chicago, all these areas here, we're essentially at where our highs should be this time of year. We're already at it with our lows. So that just tells you how hot it's going to get. And then you throw in the dew point temperature. Remember, the air temperature, the closer it is to the dew point temperature. So New York was at 82. Detroit, I want to say, was around a 77. So the closer these numbers are, and this is quite close, then the more humid it feels out there. So you have to remember that as we go through the day. So our heat index right now already into the 70s and 80s across the board for us, and it's going to get even hotter as we go through the day. So as I mentioned, let's have a look at how this all works. 90 degrees, that's your actual air temperature. When your dew point is at 70, then it feels like it's 96 degrees out. And if you add more moisture, remember, the dew point is getting closer to your temperature as it's going up. It's going to feel even hotter. And then as you're going up to 79, it's going to feel even hotter. So the closer these two numbers are together, the warmer it is going to feel out there for us humans. Feel like 98 in Chicago, 101 in Detroit. Look at Minneapolis. That boundary has come through for us. And we'll see triple-digit temperatures down into Florida, which you might say, well, Florida's hot. Yeah, but usually, you know, our temperatures are moderated by the ocean here. Charleston feeling like 106, 102 into New York. And Philadelphia, remember, it's not just during the day. It's a fact that as you head into the evening hours, Kelly, 7 p.m., still feeling like 101.
Ooh, not getting a break there at all.
Let's take you here to the maps and show you what we are going to see. And remember, big high pressure to the north, that means onshore flow. And we also actually have a piece of energy that's going to be coming through the atmosphere. And when you get that onshore push, that's just shoving all the water into the beaches here along the east coast of Florida. The west coast of Florida, you don't have as high of a rip current that you do into the panhandle. So keep that in mind. There are your water temperatures, a little bit cooler just north of the Space Coast there at 79. But otherwise, we're in the 80s. You can see that Gulf Stream riding up and taking that turn off the Carolina coast for us. These are the flags you need to know. Also, the purple is for marine life. So keep that in mind. That could be anything from sharks to jellyfish across the board for us. Our UV index is at the top of the charts here. 10, 11. 11 is as high as it goes. I've always wondered how they determine that 11 is the highest number, because usually the top would be 10, right? Right. And I've always wondered why 11.
It's just like you're giving your 110%, right?
So
it's like there's just a little more. Yeah.
So anyway, that's obviously extreme, 11 plus, though you never see anything higher than 11. 11 is the highest on the scale. Clearwater, we are going to see a few thunderstorms over the next couple of days. You know, Clearwater Beach has a nightly sunset celebration on the world-famous Pier 60 in Clearwater Beach. It's free, it's year-round, and they have artisans, street performers. It's beautiful. It happens 2 hours before sunset, lasting until 2 hours after sunset. In the Northeast, along Long Island, we do have some moderate rip current here. So be careful, because also be careful when you're feeling a heat index of 102, 107. Listen, yesterday 113 in some places in the Northeast is what it felt like. And then you jump into that water when it's in the 60s. It's going to hurt. It is definitely going to hurt. It is going to be a shock to the system. Might take your breath away. It's going to feel like you're doing a cold plunge. Now, Atlantic City, we've got the heat the next couple of days, but then that ridge, remember I was talking about yesterday, starts to break down as we head into our Thursday. And notice, not as hot. Even Friday, we'll see 73 and rain. I know we don't want rain on another weekend here in the Northeast. Really, really rough. And by the way, it is just wide-reaching. A heat emergency remains in effect through today in Boston with triple-digit temperatures expected. If you work outdoors, you're going to need to stay hydrated, take a lot of breaks in the shade.
Oh, I was going to say a lot of showers.
Yeah, that could work too. That could cool you off.
Definitely going to be needed. One person already working outdoors this morning is senior national correspondent Justin Michaels.
I gave you the mumbles.
Yeah, we've got the mumbles this morning. Justin, good morning. How are you guys staying cool?
Well, drinking lots of water. In fact, hold on, Lauren just...
Actually, the #1 weather-related killer. In fact, it is a much bigger killer than flood, tornadoes, even combined, some of these here. So you got to keep that in mind, that heat really is. And we had issues yesterday at a graduation in New Jersey. There was people hospitalized because of the heat. A lot of people saw paramedics because of the heat. And when we have very high heat, we have this heat risk measure, and it identifies where the temperatures are going to pose an elevated risk for heat stress. There's some CDC data put in there, and also the extremity, the time of year, and duration of heat are key on how high your heat risk is. So notice Chicago, we've come down a little bit here, but we still have major to extreme heat risk for us here across the country. And we want you to stay hydrated in a cool place if possible. Consider canceling those outdoor activities, even in the morning hours. It can be really, really tough. Poor air quality also turns into an issue when you have that hot, stagnant air. And then power outages, of course, are possible with this. Tomorrow, we still see a lot of major and extreme heat risk for us. Again, the northern tier of that ridge starting to break down as we head into our Thursday. It's not going to be as intense. The temperatures, look at that, not as bad here with the extreme heat risk. It's still hot out there. You still have a lot of problems, but it's not going to be as intense as that high pressure isn't going to be as strong. Notice how the purples really start to shade away as we head into our Friday. So some things you might feel if you have heat exhaustion, you're lightheaded, excessive sweating, nausea. Sure. But what's happening around the high pressure, and essentially it's going to be directing storms in a lot of the same areas for the next couple of days. This is what we had yesterday. Flood reports, very heavy rainfall. In the overall big system, we have a big trough in the west that's trying to break through our ridge over here. We also have energy from Canada dropping down, trying to break through the ridge that we have as well. And it's not a super clean ridge. It's a little bit of a dirty ridge, if you will, meaning there are some thunderstorms underneath it, which you can get. But there's your high pressure. Clockwise flow around that, bringing storms here along the Gulf, along I-10, and then around the west side of it, again, seeing those same places with the storms because we're in that same pattern. A lot of moisture, too, for us here. Very, very heavy rainfall as we look into some parts of Missouri and also into Iowa. And we do have the chance for more severe weather. Again, on the west side of that high and the northern side. Here's our high, clockwise flow coming up on the west side and on the northern side of this ridge. And not to mention the threat for some hail, too, as we look into the plains and into Colorado. So there's your heavier rain this morning into Missouri and Iowa for us. And as we go through the day, you'll see all that moisture. And some of those are going to be big boomers. And speaking of big boomers, look at those hail. The hail that's going to be coming out of these, something like that, that's definitely going to be cranking out the wind, the hail, and also the rain. It's all going to continue eroding away at this high pressure as we go through the week. But, Kelly, it's going to be a messy one. The one good thing that this does, it cools us off significantly. Chicago will be much cooler on Wednesday with the clouds and the showers.
Yeah, it's already a refreshing.
Headquarters, I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams alongside meteorologist Jordan Steele and Kelly Cass. We want to get right to Jordan and talk about the summer heat wave. It feels like of 113 in New York yesterday.
Rough.
People in New Jersey hospitalized at a graduation due to the heat. Roads buckling due to the heat.
Isn't it crazy how we don't think of it as being that problematic, but then you listen to all these headlines and it is that problematic?
The #1 weather killer.
That's exactly right, but it's that silent